probability of compound events. So make sure you get it in there. Okay, then I have 3 vocabulary words. Actually, not even can use. Can use is not even vocabulary. Like technically 3 things to write. So compound events, what you can use, I'm going to show you how to use some of these things. And then sample space. Underneath sample space, I'm going to show you an example of what sample space is. So I'm going to move these up just a second. All right, so sample space, that's one thing I'm going to focus on the most today. Sample space are all the possibilities that you can have when you're given some options. So here's an example. When you go home, you're probably hungry after school. When you go home, there's probably some options of things you can have. When we go home, there's always some kind of cracker on my house, and there's always fruit snacks. Okay? Those are the options my kids usually take. Well, my kids don't like vegetables, but fruit snacks. Then they was asking for a drink. And I say, well, you can always have water. I always have water available, and then sometimes we have juice. So that's sometimes another option. So here's what the sample space looks like. So first of all, they're offered 2 things at home. They can have crackers, and they can have fruit snacks.
Can we have like our favorite snack?
Probably use weight. Okay. Then after, when they're thirsty, when they're tired of their cracker, their fruit snacks, they need something to drink. So they can have water or juice. So the sample space is showing all the possibilities that they can have together. They can have crackers and water. They can have crackers and juice. Okay. They can have fruit snacks and water. They can have fruit snacks and juice. So how many possibilities are there for my kids to choose? 4 things. They could have crackers and water. 1, crackers and juice. 2, fruit snacks and water. 3, fruit snacks and juice. 4 possible things that they can pick. 4 combinations that they can have. What's the probability of my kids picking fruit snacks and water? Okay, 25%. How do you know that? Well, there's 4 combinations, 4 possibilities. And out of those possibilities, there's 1 that's fruit snacks and water. So out of this, there's 25% chance my kids are going to choose fruit snacks and water. Yeah.
So then are we going to do like, are we going to have to figure out like what's their favorite or something?
No. It'll do just what I just did. It'll give you their options. Then it'll say, well, sometimes it'll say, not all the time today. Like maybe a few of the problems, it'll say, okay, now what's the probability of so-and-so picking fruit and water, fruit snacks and water? And you say, well, there's so many options. Well, 1 out of 4. Matt?
Are we gonna have to do like the decimals?
No, not today. Not today. So let's practice one, shall we? Okay, so here's an example. So if you want one in your notebook, here's one to get in. Here's one to get in.
Oh, we have to write this out.
You don't have to write it out. You could do this. Option 1, carrots. And what was that, pretzels? Option 2, juice, milk, water. Okay, now let's start making a tree diagram. So what I'm showing you is a tree diagram of all the possibilities. So let's start with their carrots and pretzels. That's the only 2 choices they have. So they can have carrots and pretzels. No, what could they have with their carrot?
Juice, milk, and water.
Juice, milk, water. So they could have carrots and juice, carrots and milk, carrots and water. They could have pretzels and juice, pretzels and milk, pretzels and water. That's what a tree diagram looks like. Now, how many options are there?
1/6.
I didn't even ask you what some.
Six.
Okay, if I said 6, there's 6 possibilities. Not 8. An
Oh,
easy way
wait.
to tell is to count these. 1, 2, count the end of your tree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. If I would say, what's the probability of them choosing milk?
2/6.
A third.
2, 6. Why? Where did you get 2? They could have carrots and milk, and they could have pretzels and milk. Look over here. There's 2 milks out of the 6. So 2, 6, 1/3 choice they're going to choose milk. What if I say, what's the probability they're going to choose pretzels?
50%.
50%, 3 out of 6. Because they could have pretzels and juice, milk, water. What if I say, what's the probability that they're going to pick carrots and milk?
1/6.
1 out of 6. Yeah, because there's 6 possibilities, and then now the possibility is 1 option that's carrots and milk. 1/6. See what I'm talking about? Okay, let's make it a little bigger now. Okay, we're going to Subway. Okay, we're going to talk about your sandwich. So first of all, they always ask you the type of bread. They ask you, we're going to say white and wheat. We're just going to make it easy. Okay, then they ask you,
How long?
how long what?
How, like a foot long or?
Oh, we're just going to skip that. We're just going to talk about meat next. So meat, they'd ask you maybe turkey, ham, I don't know, what's another one?
Steak.
Turkey, okay, I like steak. Ham,
Ham, turkey, mayo with what?
If you want to toast.
That's so basic.
toasted, or, okay,
You forgot bacon.
the next thing, that's okay, I'm just doing a few. Then maybe option 3, they maybe ask you the type of cheese you want, so let's just say American.
Only take any order,
No cheese.
literally everything.
All right, so, pepper jack is good. All right, so this is how it's gonna work this time. We're gonna start with the first option. 2 options, white and wheat. White, wheat. Okay, now let's go to the next option. You could have white and turkey, white and what? White and ham, white and steak. You could have wheat and turkey, wheat and ham, wheat and steak.
You put the cheese in there.
Okay, now this is, yeah, that's the hardest part. How do you know what to do with cheese? Well, this is what you do next. You say, okay, well, you can have a white sandwich with turkey, and then what 2 options of cheese? American and Swiss. So you could have white turkey and American, you could have white turkey and Swiss. You could have white ham and American. You could have white ham and Swiss. Do you see how it goes? Yeah, it takes a while. You have to think about it. You could have white steak and American. You could have white steak and Swiss.
So is this gonna be like, we're gonna have to put this as an answer?
So most of everything today is going to ask you for the sample space. This is sample space. Asking you what it looks like, all the possible possibilities. So wheat, turkey American, Swiss, American, Swiss.
So it's just a big all long tree. If you would,
This is a tree diagram.
if you would like turn it the other way, it would be like
Yeah, it looks like a family tree kind of thing. Yeah.
so like turn it the other way. Well,
It
kind
looks
of
like
like
brackets. Like flip
It does have to look like brackets.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it looks like a bracket. Yeah. Okay, so now let's answer some questions about it. First of all, how many possibilities are there?
4, 26, 2,
10,
No.
11.
5.
Okay, hold on. Easy way to know. Count the ends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
7.
12.
Mexican.
Guys, listen closely. Because you're going to have to know this. It's going to ask you how many possibilities. So here's a possibility. White turkey American, white turkey Swiss, white ham American, white ham Swiss, white Swiss, or white steak American, white steak Swiss. That's 6 possibilities right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So 12.
So 12, because you have 6 possibilities for your 2. The easiest thing to do is count the ends of your trees. That'll tell you how many possibilities. So 12. What's the possibility of me choosing ham?
2.
2 out of
12.
4. How many sandwiches have ham? 4 of them. If you aren't sure, because 1, 2,
Oh.
3, 4. 4 possibilities, right? Do you see what I'm talking about now? So 4 or 1/3 would have ham in it. Okay?
Can I say just look at the meats? Like,
But
that
there
would
was,
still be a third.
oh yeah, 1/3. Yeah, you could do that. But a lot of times it'll ask you to be specific. So like, what's the possibility of having wheat, ham, and Swiss? Wheat, ham, and Swiss.
1.
Wait,
1.
no.
There's only 1 sandwich up there that's wheat, ham, and Swiss. So just 1. You see what I'm talking about?
Basic, terrifying lesson.
It's a basic, terrifying lesson. Okay, so we practice. We do another one?
Yes.
Okay. I'll give you another one. You do it yourself. You do it yourself. Let's do, oh, I know. Let's go to McDonald's and just think of the pop. You have choices of a small, medium, and large. And you have choices of Pepsi, or actually, I think I'm just going to name a few pops. I don't know.
Yogurt, yogurt, fries.
Diet Coke.
Fries.
Don't get crazy.
Fries.
Sprite.
You just say yogurt fries?
No, for like the side.
Okay, well, let's do this. You just make a basic one right now.
The yogurt's actually kind of good.
Okay. Make a table or a tree that tells me all the possibilities. Go. Go. Make a table or a tree that tells me all the possibilities.
Oh, they give you work paper.
Make a tree. Or a list. You could do a list too. A list, I'll show you what a list would look like.
Is it shorter?
No, not by any means.
I figured.
I mean, for something that's small like this, you can make an easy list. But if you have like 3 things, like you did with the sandwiches, that would be harder to make it a list. Just to keep things organized in your head. This would be easier to make a list for.
I figured out an easy way to figure it out. All I need to do is take, how many are on top times the bottom.
Good for you. You're right. But that's not today's lesson. Because you have to show me the sample space. You actually have to show me like what are the possibilities. Yep. Have to show the tree there. Yep. What you talked about is a total another lesson.
Good job, Matthew.
I know.
Yep, so it could look like this, small, medium, large. This is what it would look like. Or you could do this too. You could do your Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite, and Fanta, and do small, medium, large, small, medium, large, small, medium, large, small, medium, large. So there's 2 ways you can make the treat. You could do your small, medium, large first and go off with the drinks, or you could do the drinks and go off with the small, medium, large. It doesn't matter. What?
What if I want extra?
Then add an extra large for yourself. Whatever. Okay? How are we doing? Any questions? This is what your homework's going to be today. It's going to say, oh, spinning a spinner and rolling a dice is what it's going to do. So spinning a spinner, they have a picture of a rolling a dice. You could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could have one in a red or one in a yellow, one in a blue. Okay, not done yet. I'm not done yet. Let's do another one. Because this is going to be kind of like another one in your homework today. Okay? So suppose you toss a quarter, dime, and a nickel. Okay?
What's the probability you get hit?
Yep, all tails.
So,
So first of all, I have them up here. So I'm going to put my first coin.
out of 6.
No. Just look. Don't start guessing. On my first coin, what are my options? Okay, so coin 1, I can have a heads and I can have a tails. Okay, so that's on my coin 1. So let's say on my coin 1, I have a heads. Now I'm going to flip my dime. What are the options that I could have on my dime?
Heads and tails.
I could have a head, I could flip a heads on my quarter and flip a heads on my dime. Or I could have a heads on my quarter and I could have a tails on my dime. Does that make sense so far? Okay. Let's say the first time I flip my quarter, it's a tail. I could have a tails, and then when I flip my dime, I could have a head. So I could have a tails on my quarter, a heads on my dime. Or I could have a tails on my quarter and a tails on my dime, right? Okay. Whew. Okay. Third one. So I could have a heads on my quarter. I could have a heads on my dime. What could I have on my nickel?
Heads.
What else could I have? Okay, so I could have a heads on my quarter, heads on my dime, heads on my nickel, or I could have tails. Okay, so now let's do it again. I could have a heads on my quarter, I could have a tails on my dime, and I could have a heads on my nickel. Or I could have a tails. Same thing down here. I could start with tails, have a heads, and then I could have a heads or a tail. Same thing down here. I could have a head or a tail. So let me show you all the possibilities I could have. I could have a heads, heads, heads. I could have a heads, heads, tails. Okay? I could have a heads, tails, heads. I could have a heads, tails, tails. Woo! That's only if I start with heads. Then I could have a tails, heads, heads, heads. Tails, heads, tails. I could have a tails, tails, heads. Yep. Woo! So how many possibilities could I have? 8. And if it asks me what's the possibility that I could get all tails, what is it? 1 out of 8. Because of 1 time out of 8. Okay, so what if I ask this? How many times could I have at least 2 heads? How many times can I have at least 2 heads?
4.
4. Here's 3 heads. 2, 2, and 2. So 4 out of 8. Half, I could have at least 2 heads. Same thing for 2 tails. You're going to have one kind of like that in your homework today, only it's not going to talk about coins. I think it talks about kids, like triplets.
The first 2 words.
Yeah. So like you think for your first baby, you can have a boy and a girl. Second baby, you can have a boy and girl. You can have a boy and a boy. You can have a boy and a girl. So think that that's how it's going to be. It's kind of like this, only with boys and girls. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. Why does every math book, I feel like every math book has weird names? Like my universe.
That's one. All right. This is what you're doing for homework today. Okay, listen closely. Open your book to page 737. You need to listen to me.
Why do you have a quarter?
You know,
Going back to you.
it's the only one I got.
Was it a heads or tails?
Heads.